Welcome back, guys. For those of you who have been asking the question, what's the ANKR network? What is ANKR liquid staking? Today we're going to have ANKR and liquid staking explained. And ANKR is really interesting because ANKR StakeFi is what I think is a risk-free money bot. I got a couple of questions in my last ANKR video, which you can check out here, about how to stake ANKR. And that question came up again and again and again. And hopefully this video, if you watch through the end, will explain to you how staking on ANKR really works. ANKR isn't just staking their own token, which I believe you can stake ANKR with Ethereum, but they stake other blockchains as well. They're really out to make staking simple for non-technical users like mom and pop, granny and granddad. If they want to stake, they can go to ANKR and stake their assets if they ever own any cryptos. And with that said, before we head into the video, can you just do me this one small favor? Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and once you're done that, let's get inside. Alright, so without beating the bush, let's get right into it. What is StakeFi? StakeFi is basically a launchpad that makes it easy for users to stake. And ANKR has these things called internet bonds. And they basically enable DeFi to provide liquidity to stake tokens, as well as connecting staking rewards to DeFi. Now, we all know that there are several ways to make money, make passive income with DeFi, but staking is one of the most stable and low-risk ways of making passive income. And here's what they're fixing. They're trying to fix the broken financial system, the traditional financial system, where all banks basically give a reduced interest rate of 0%. I mean, they take your money that you deposit in the bank and they lend it out with interest. But they don't give you any of that. But if you use credit on a credit card, you're borrowing money from the bank. And if you miss a payment, then they charge you something like 20% interest. Now, is that fair? And that's the reason that I am short the banks, and all the money I have in the bank is what I need for bare essentials. Everything else is in DeFi. And StakeFi's goal really is to give non-technical users the ability to stake easily or easily run their own nodes. Now let's talk about what is this internet bond that is the innovation of ANKR. So it's basically a digital work agreement between a bond issuer, which is the proof of stake network, and a capital provider or staker, which is the bondholder, which is you. So for example, if we use traditional bonds, that's exactly kind of how it works. Or if you don't know anything about bonds, then let's say you are a person depositing money into a bank. You could be that holder or staker. Now the staker is required to stake collateral to secure the network. So basically what's happening is you are depositing and locking up your money or assets or tokens into this network, and for doing that, the network gives you rewards. You have the right to receive rewards. Staking or stakers, in short, what they do is they protect the network. Now the pros of internet bonds is that there's no fixed maturity. That means that you can cash out and get your money back at any time. And there's also an equity feature. You own a part of that network as a staker or a hodler. When's the last time you owned a bank by giving them your money? Never. And staking rewards is really, they are based on an algorithm and how many stakers there are. So it's not really set by anyone. Now let's talk about the differences between stakers and internet bondholders, because there are differences. So let's start with stakers. Well, they get staking rewards and they get limited upside potential for the price of the staked token. Now, internet bondholders, they also get an easy staking experience and instant liquidity on staked tokens. Because you're locking your staked tokens, if you're a staker and it's locked, you can't touch them. You can't pull them out at any time. So there's no liquidity is what we call it there. You can't move it easily. But with internet bondholders, it is easy to move the staked tokens, so there's instant liquidity. Compared to the staked tokens, which can't be moved easily, these internet bonds can be moved easily, which is great. And with internet bonds, there's the possibility to stack strategies, and we'll talk more about this in a little bit. But basically, you can use the token that you stake to do more, to farm, to trade, to lend, things like that. You can't do that with the staked tokens because it's locked up. And lastly, you can get access to other staking rewards on other networks. So how they say it is that ANKR is kind of like distributed cloud computing, like AWS. And it's crazy to think about because I didn't catch that part the last time. So let me show you through these graphs to explain really what I meant. So these are basically internet bonds and how they work. So what you're doing is you're depositing your tokens with ANKR, and what you're gonna get back are these bonds. We're using Ethereum in this example. So these bonds are liquid. That means you can move them around. So if you wanted to trade them at say like SushiSwap, 1inch, Uniswap, you can do that. If you wanted to lend them, you can also do that with Compound and Aave. And if you wanted to do some other stuff like run nodes, you can also do that here. But for most people, they're probably not going to run nodes, so we're not going to talk about that too much. But if you're going to run nodes yourself without Anchor, you're probably going to use AWS, Azure, all nodes. So that is centralized cloud computing. But with Anchor, it's distributed cloud computing, which means that you're not going to be under the thumb of, say, like Amazon, because if you run a node with Amazon, they can technically shut you down at any time if they don't like what you're doing. With Anchor, they can't really do that. So on this page here, we have multiple reward layers. So we're kind of looking more granularly. So what's the first thing you can do? You can stake and earn something like 7 to 8 to 10.7% APY staking rewards. Of course, this is going to change because staking is variable reward. But when's the last time the bank ever gave you anything more than 0%? That's right, they're only giving 0% nowadays. But on top of that, you can do arbitrage like buy low and sell higher at a different exchange the same token, or you can do some lending. Here's how you can see it. When's the last time you deposited your money at your traditional bank and you asked them to lend it out for you to make you more money? Never, because the bank will take your money and lend it out to make money for themselves, but not for you. And on top of this, what's crazy about Anchor is that you're earning interest because you deposited money with Anchor. And on top of that, they are lending out your money to someone else. So you're earning interest there. 2 points of interest, and you're gaining all that. With the bank, you're earning absolutely nothing. So that's what's possible with Anchor. You can stake your assets and then get a token in return, which you can further lend out to someone else in order to make more money. But let's switch gears, talk about mining versus staking. And I'm more talking about Bitcoin mining because that is more archaic. First of all, with Bitcoin mining, you need to buy mining equipment, which now would go into the millions and millions of dollars because there are a lot of big companies doing Bitcoin mining. And you also need technical knowledge, and the APY is going to be lower because it's in very, very competitive environment. With staking, we usually can't see the appreciation of the asset itself, and we can leverage it like I explained in the last page that I showed you. By doing staking, getting some tokens back, doing some lending or some arbitrage, those are possibilities. Those are not possibility with just Bitcoin mining, for example. And with Anchor, it's becoming much more easier to use as the DeFi industry grows. And generally, the APY for some of these tokens are much higher than what you would get with Bitcoin mining, for example. So let's talk about the aETHc and aETHb. They are both referred to as the reward bearing certificate for aETHc and reward earning bond for the aETHb. And we're not going to have you read this, I'm just going to summarize this for you. So both of them lets you have liquidity for staking your tokens on the ETH 2.0 network, because remember I said that when you stake your tokens, normally you can't have liquidity because they're locked, so you can't move them. With these tokens, you can move them. So this is a really innovation on staking for Anchor. And the aETHc basically represents all the staking rewards, that is the interest and the principal, the ETH that you initially put in. And over time, because of the accumulated interest in that one token, one aETHc will become more valuable than ETH itself. Now, your aETHc won't increase as you hold it. It's only ever going to remain one if you, for example, put in one ETH. But the price is expected to grow in ETH value because it's the price of ETH and all the interest that you earned while your ETH was staked. So aETHb, the reward earning bond, it's like aETHc, but not exactly. The main difference is that it distributes staking rewards. It doesn't lock it into the token like aETHc. So what you will see is with aETHb, you will see the value or the number of tokens of aETHb continue to grow as you continue staking because the interest payments are separated and represented by the token aETHb. So for those of you asking, how do I stake Anchor? Well, here's your answer. A lot of people ask me this, and it looks like the only way to do this is really to run a node with Anchor and to become something like an ETH validator. That looks like the only way to stake Anchor as far as I know. So what do I think about this? Well, the answer to that is I actually never looked up into StakeFi and Anchor before now in depth. And I'm kind of sad about this because this is such a game changer. I mean, where else can you compound tokens and staking like this? I can't really think of any other place. And one way is to borrow tokens via like a flash loan and then lend it in strategies to earn tokens. And that is what I call very complicated liquidity mining or yield farming. That would involve coding, technical knowledge, deploying contracts, and there's always an inherent risk to it, so you always have to watch it. But with Anchor and liquid staking, I don't really think you have to be technical at all. You don't have to watch it, you can just set it and forget it. I mean, you stake your ETH with Anchor, you get these liquid tokens. Now you could lend that liquid token out in a lending platform like Aave and earn interest. You don't have to do anything else. So I think this is something to keep an eye on, and I will keep an eye on this and leverage this once those damn Ethereum gas fees are lower, because right now they're just ridiculous. Other than that, that's all I got for today's video. I really hope you learned something. Now, if you did learn something, then please help me out by smashing that like button and that subscribe button and checking out these other videos on cryptocurrencies and passive income, and I'll see you next time. Peace!